All right. Well, thank you guys for hopping on here this morning. I know that we have Give Local in less than a week now, so I'm sure that you guys are all really busy with plans underway. It's exciting to see all the donations that are already starting to come in. So you guys are already doing a great job. So thanks for jumping on this morning and getting just a little bit more information about the Giving Day. Hopefully you'll find some strategies that even if you can't use this year, then you might find useful in future years. So our agenda for the day is I'm just going to kind of quickly, I don't want to take up too much time, just walk over some of the logistical aspects of the GiveLocalNRV website, just some of those questions that I'm getting a lot of, or just some of those things that we're hoping that everyone can get taken care of before the Giving Day, just to avoid any confusion before the Giving Day actually starts. So I'm hoping to make my part really quick. And then we have a few panelists from different organizations that are going to be joining us. And we're going to just ask them kind of some panel questions on how they prepare for the Giving Day, some tips that everyone can take away that they have found useful in their success along the way. As always, I know we've been doing Zoom for a while now, but if you could just mute your mic if you're not speaking, and if you have a question, you can put those in the chat. So the number one thing that we're hoping everyone can do as soon as possible is reset your metrics. And so why we want everyone to reset their metrics is for a few reasons. It's really confusing to your donors, and it's going to be really confusing to you on the Giving Day. I had an organization reach out to me just yesterday saying, hey, I didn't realize we'd raised all this money. Can you tell me who the donors are? They were looking at last year's metrics. They hadn't reset their metrics yet. We use metrics starting from June 1st. So any donation made starting on June 1st until midnight on June 23rd is the number that's going to be on the leaderboard on the Giving Day. And so if you don't reset your metrics, the number you're going to see on the leaderboard is going to be different than the number on your organizational profile. And so I wanted to take just a minute to show you guys how easy it is to reset those metrics. And I'm going to show you how to do those in two different ways, depending on how you have your page set up. So this is the Community Foundation's organizational page. And so if you are an organization who is using your organizational page to fundraise, this is where you'll want to reset those metrics.
I'm not seeing that website. I'm seeing reset metrics and leaderboards.
Yeah, I think if you're on another screen, Ashley, you might have to jump over, close out the PowerPoint and open the website. Thank you.
I'm glad you said that because I just kept on rolling. How about now?
You're good.
Perfect. Okay. So this is what the back end of your organizational profile will look like. And so if you did not set up a fundraiser, which you do not have to, so don't feel like you need to go do that. Please don't if you haven't already, like just keep doing what you're doing. But if you did not set up a fundraiser, this is how you are doing your fundraising for Give Local. And so this is what the back end of your profile looks like. So this is where you set your goal, you type your story, you update your logo. So you've all been here before to set this up initially. But what you need to do is hover over this little blue pencil right here that's right beside the amount raised and the number of donors that you have. You'll click on that blue pencil and a little box will pop up. It's probably pretty small, but the last bullet point on this is start calculation on a specific date. You want that date to be June 1st at 12 a.m. That's when we start our calculations. So that's when you need to make sure your calculations are started. If it starts on May 5th and you started receiving any donations in May, that number is going to show up here, which is fine, but it's not going to be the same number as the Give Local NRV totals. So if you use this page for any type of fundraising outside of Give Local, or if you use this page for Give Local last year and you haven't reset your metrics, those numbers are going to be in there. So make sure that it says June 1st at 12 a.m. On the flip side, make sure you don't start it on June 23rd, because that will only count the donations that come in on the giving day. And so our leaderboard totals may be higher than your totals if it's different. So June 1st, 12 a.m. is what that needs to be. Super simple. That's all you need to do. If you're setting up peer-to-peer fundraising, or you have a fundraiser set up, then I'm going to show you how to reset your metrics there as well. If you're not doing that, just tune me out. Don't listen to this part. I don't want to confuse you. Can you guys see the new screen now? Okay, perfect. So this is what your profile would look like if you set up an actual fundraiser. So you're going to go to the left side to your settings, click settings. You're going to scroll down to where it says metrics calculation. Same thing, June 1st, 2021, 12 a.m. Save, and you're done. This is also where you can like customize your URL and all that good stuff, but we're not going to get into that because we've already had a webinar on that. So if you guys want more information on that, then I would encourage you to go ahead and watch the PowerPoint presentation, or go on our website and watch the webinar that we had on how to set up your profile and how to make all those changes. Any quick questions there before I move on? Okay. All right. So as a reminder, you can find all of our grants on our website. Leaderboards will be active at midnight on June 23rd. And once again, if you want to watch that second webinar, it's called Let's Talk Strategy, and it's located on the actual Give Local page under the nonprofit toolkit. Another thing that we wanted to chat about real quick was offline donations. So any donation that you get that's not on the actual website, this is something like a cash or check or a wire transfer, any type of EFT transaction, you can put on your profile to count from June 1st to June 23rd, and it will count towards your organizational goal. But we did want to point out that if it's a credit card transaction that takes place off of the GiveLocalNRV platform, it will not count towards your GiveLocalNRV totals. If you have a gift that's larger than $1,000, we may ask you for proof of that gift if you qualify for a grant. So make sure that if you have a check or any type of transfer that's more than $1,000, that you're just holding on to that proof in the event that we need to ask you for proof of it. If you're trying to get a power hour this year, offline donations do not count towards power hours. Only the online donations count towards power hours this year. And the last thing I'm going to talk about before I turn it over to the panel is we can have events in 2021. We couldn't do that in 2020. So we know that some organizations are holding some in-person events during the giving day. If you could just let us know if you are holding an in-person event, because we would love to come out and take photos, or we would love to send one of our board members out to take photos of what you guys are doing, give you some extra exposure on social media, and just let the whole world know that you're participating in Give Local. So if you are doing something, if you could just let us know, just so we are aware of what's going on in the community. And we can't guarantee we'll get somebody out there, but we're going to try really hard. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And we have our lovely panelists who have joined us. So thank you. We have Jill, who is representing Montgomery Museum. And we have Carolyn and Piper, who are representing Springhouse, and we have Emily, who is representing the Junebug Center. And so thank you guys for being here with us today. And what I thought I would do is I'll just ask the first question, and whoever wants to pipe up first can go, and then we can just kind of round robin it. Does that sound good? All right. So the first question is just really general. So like, how do you prepare for the giving day? When do you start planning for this giving day? Just general overview of how to prepare for Give Local. So Jill, I see you're off mute. You want to start?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. We try to get started about 3 months prior to the giving day. And I will say that we plan to launch on June 1. So last year when we started being able to count any donations starting on June 1st, that's now when we kick off our campaign. And so we'll meet to determine what the campaign theme is going to be, what the fundraising goal is. And then from there, we move forward with developing some theme graphics to use for our organization profile and for our social media. And then we would use the following weeks to update the organization page, plan our communication strategy. And we also use that time to secure any matching grants. In our case, the board members, several board members have come forward with matching grants. And so we use that early time to secure that, make sure that we have that solidified and in order so we know how much we have. And we also talk about what prize or prizes we might want to pursue because that informs our strategy for the campaign. And then on June 1st, we kick off the campaign, and that way we've got a nice, more than 3 weeks period for the campaign to raise money and also raise awareness of the organization.
Thank you. Anybody want to go next? Emily?
Yeah, hi everyone. So we started planning about a couple months in advance at a board meeting. And what we do is just make sure our page is up to date. We like to change making what our funds are going to be used for more specific and what we're using it for that year. So we kind of go through that in advance. And a big thing for us is just reaching out to our past donors through individual emails, calling them, meeting them in person, sending mailers to those who like to send stuff in the mail rather than going online. We focus on the video. We love making the video for this. So that's something we kind of plan to do in advance with our kids. We mainly do like after school programs. So we like to get the kids involved in that. And then new this year, we're going to try to do that matching grant. So we kind of locked that in a month before. And we also started kicking off on June 1st and trying to get those early donors. So yeah, that's kind of what we do. Our big thing is just reaching out to past donors is a big thing that we do.
I love this. It's so nice to hear the commonalities of how we work to raise money for organizations. Similarly, we start planning several months in advance. We do even a year prior. Our budgetary year begins in August. So we do have a certain goal that we set in place for this campaign for Give Local already. So we tend to have our goal a year in advance, but we start planning and strategizing 3 to 4 months in advance with the theme and working on similar things that you all have said, finding large donors. We launch on June 1st too, and really take advantage of that extra time to kind of just keep the communication consistent with the giving day and just the giving time period. And I think the other thing that we really focus on is how do we activate our community, like the people who are supporters, either whether it's our own staff, our board, and really get everybody excited about the campaign and the effort. And our biggest success at this point, the last 2 years, has been peer-to-peer fundraising and getting folks empowered. Like even the students, a lot of the learners have their individual fundraising page. So that takes a lot of like back end. It's like the pre-campaign almost, like the underground, what happens within the organization and how we're empowering people and preparing everybody to raise money, whether it's like having templates for email communications or social media posts, that kind of thing. So it's almost like the underground campaign for the big campaign. Yeah, so I think I'll end there.
I'm glad that you brought up the peer-to-peer because I know you guys did that last year and had success, and I know that you're doing it again this year. Do you have your teams set goals, or do you let them decide what their goal to be to kind of roll up to your overall goal?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we usually, there's a way to set up a template, which is wonderful in Mighty Cause. And we just set the goal this year, like we have a set goal of 1,000 for the peer-to-peer, but we instruct people how you can change it. So it varies. You know, there's some board members who set it for 15,000 or 20,000 who have like big goals to help our bigger goal this year. So it's individual. We let people decide. We don't set it for them. Yeah.
That's helpful.
Piper, hop on if there's anything else that you want to respond to too, please.
Only thing I'll mention here is that we actually decided not to, last year we had like the staff team and the student team and the board team. And this year we've actually, taken that away. We're all in it together. So we have our individual, fundraising pages, but they're all going towards this main goal.
Awesome. And the next question that I have is, what does your day of event look like? Do you guys have like a social media campaign? Do you have like an email strategy system that you have set up where emails are going out automatically? Or do you guys send those out, throughout the day? So talk a little bit about what your day of event looks like. Jill, you want to start again?
Sure. Well, our day of activities are sort of a mix of planned activities and then things that are responsive based on what's happening during the day. So we'll definitely have an email campaign for, our entire list, which we've been doing throughout, but we'll definitely have something go out first thing that morning saying, hey, it's the giving day, today's the day. Give them some updates on where we are with our goal and please give again. And then whether we send, typically we will do at least one update, maybe around midday by email, but we kind of do feel it out based on where we are in the giving day and what kinds of things we want to share with our list. So the first one would definitely be pre-scheduled, and then the other ones would be sort of maybe planned but be tweaked based on what's going on during the day. And it's kind of the same with our social media campaign. So we'll have, planned posts go out in the morning saying, today's the day. That might be a post that also gets a boost on Facebook. And then posts that follow that will be sort of based on, a lot of those are going to be based on what's happening. I've done it before where there might be going live during the day, but currently we don't have any plans to go live this year, but that may still happen. So stay tuned, but we may do something live from the Montgomery Museum. But something that we're doing this year that I'm sure some of you have already been doing, but is new for us, and we've already started on June 1st, is we're doing thank you posts where we actually name the donors, the latest donors. So we have a thank you graphic that we're using, a consistent thank you graphic. And we're saying, thank you to our most recent donors, and we're listing them by name. Of course, not any who have requested to remain anonymous, but I've observed other organizations doing that, and we decided to implement that this year to have a little bit more of a personal touch. So that we'll be mixing that in with our social media campaign throughout the day. And we are doing a live event as well. So we're going to be having a live event, and I'll send you an email, Ashley, since you asked, but we'll be doing a live event from 5 to 7 in the evening, and invite folks out to for wine and cheese and live music, and to be able to take a tour of the museum. And if they would like to make a donation, we'll be collecting donations. And of course, we didn't get to do that last year, but we did do that in 2019 and it was successful. So we're following that same, we're doing a similar event to what we did 2 years ago, and worked well for us because people were able to come out and engage and then make a donation if they chose to.
That sounds fun. And I really like your idea about like the naming people in a post. I like that personal touch a lot.
So with the June Book Center, our day is kind of what Jill said. We schedule out some of the emails, but then we like to personalize some of the emails as well. Like if we hit midway marks, to let people know that where we are in it. One thing that I thought was really beneficial last year was the power hours that you guys made from like the 6 to 7. And I scheduled those ahead of time, which I thought was super helpful. But for us, we have after school programs. So we have 5 different programs that we could have those donations go specifically towards. So we kind of let donors know that, and they know what hour to donate and where it's going to go. So that was super helpful last year. We're not doing a live event this year, but we will have, we have summer camps happening the same week. So we'll have our robotics camp and we'll have our Blue Ridge Strings. So we'll be doing some like Facebook Live events there. And we also have, we're going to try doing this online raffle as well on the day, where we have Floyd Fest tickets, where if they donate a specific amount, they are entered into a raffle, and we'll draw that at probably the next morning.
Love all these ideas. This is just great. Let's see. Our day of, we actually do a little bit of a build up. So sending an email on Monday to our list, or Tuesday, maybe even both. It's difficult because we don't want to inundate people, right? But there is this psychological pattern of the more impressions, the more, okay, you'll respond, the more you see it. So day of giving, we definitely do an early morning email, social posts. But again, like really cultivating even the day prior or 2 days prior. And then we do the updated emails as well with where are we at? Here's how much we have to get to our goal. We're almost there, with the follow-up. We are not doing an in-person event this year. We're having a live online event in the evening, tapping into our storytelling, which is what we've really, what we've realized is just how it's just so powerful to tell stories and hear stories of impact and change from various people in the Springhouse community. So that's what we'll be doing, is an online streaming Zoom storytelling event. And we'll be giving updates then too. So then there's usually a follow-up email, thank you, as we go. But love all these ideas. I think I answered the question. And Piper, if there's anything else you want to pop in there, please go for it. Okay.
Okay, perfect. No, I think that those are all, a little bit unique in how you strategize it, but, similar, and that you have some things that are pre-scheduled, but also take the day and analyze what's going on and reading where you are and make any pivots that need to happen. So the next question is, what have you found successful? So if you've been doing this for a little bit, like, what are some of those things that you're like, this is the thing that is successful, like, this is what you have to do. And I know that we're, 6 days out from the event. And so maybe it's not something you can do today, but maybe it is. But if it's something like, getting a match is really the key to having a great campaign, or is it, getting a list of those donors and reaching out to them way in advance to prepare them to have that, to make that gift. So what are some of those things that you think are the keys to success for a giving day?
Am I first again?
You can be, or we can switch it up.
That's okay. I'll jump in. I just want to preface my response by saying that we're so incredibly fortunate that the Community Foundation provides this platform for all of us to raise money and raise awareness and it just makes it so easy for the community to give to their favorite organizations. And this is not done in every community. So I think just want to say, to whatever extent you are able to participate, it's worth the extra time and effort. And not everyone can, blow it out of the water the way some organizations have, because we all have different capacities. But I think if we, gauge our capacity and then take that opportunity to tell your story, build awareness, raise a little money. And I think in terms of what we have found to be very successful, it is, last year, we didn't know what to expect, I think, like almost everyone. And I think what worked was there was sort of a natural emotional hook to everyone's campaign. And I think that sort of informs what we do going forward. And some organizations have already been doing that, but if you can think about what is going to really engage your constituents' emotions and, whatever reason they have for following your organization or being engaged in your organization, and really tap into that and make sure that you're responding to that and giving them a good reason to continue supporting you or to support you for the first time. We had new donors every year, and just making sure that we're really telling the story and make sure that they understand this is our mission, this is our work, this is why it matters, this is the impact we have on the community, and here's how you can help.
Thanks, Jill.
For the June Book Center, I guess we were talking about planning, and really you're planning for this event all year long with building those relationships with donors, and then like coming back and mentioning this great day for the community. And so I think it's just so important to connect with those people giving to your organization, because they're probably linked to your organization in some way. They believe in your mission and they want to see your stories. So I think that's really important to I found the most beneficial just talking to people throughout the year and sitting down with them and just telling them what we're doing, and doing anything this year is a big deal. Like what we all did this year, that's a really big deal. So they want to hear what we've accomplished and the events that we've done and who we have served in the community. And so I think getting stories out is super important and beneficial. And I've found that almost all the donors that have donated in the past Give Local have donated to the next year. So if you keep that relationship going, you're going to have that retention every year. And the new donors as well, when they're coming to your events, just telling them what you do and adding them to that email list. And they want to give, you just got to ask and tell them your mission and stories. So yeah, I think that's important.
Yes. All of it. I think what we found successful is similar as far as sharing the story and the impact and how, like, why does it matter? What difference does supporting this organization, your organization, what does it matter? And the other thing, I think the question was like, what has we found successful? I think is the peer-to-peer has been really successful, which is basically linked to that one-on-one, right? Like the personal ask, the personal connection, of sharing a story, that emotional connection, Jill, that you mentioned, and just the power that that has to say this organization makes a difference in my life. Will you help support it? You know, it's really simple and it's really hard too at the same time because it's vulnerable. Like it is. Asking for money and sharing why you should give money, it's not the easiest thing to do. So it helps when we're able to bring out those stories and the impact. So thanks.
And this question isn't one that I sent in advance per se, but a lot of what you guys are suggesting are, you know, like making sure you connect with those previous year donors. If there's somebody listening right now and this is their first year participating, if you could think back to, you know, this is the 8th year that the Community Foundation has done the Giving Day. And so it was all our first year at some time along the way. And so those organizations who might be listening that are like, well, man, this is my first year participating. Like, I'm a one-man band. Like, I don't have a lot of help, you know, to push my mission forward. Like, I don't have the peer-to-peer set up, or I didn't secure a match. Like, what are some of those things that I can do with less than a week to go to where I can, you know, raise a little bit, like you said, Jill, like maybe I don't have a ton of capacity to do a lot of these things, but what are some of those things that you would advise a first-time organization who has limited capacity, if you could just give them like a few tips to do this year as a first-year organization?
I personally would say to just keep it simple. Take advantage of the nonprofit toolkit that the Community Foundation has put out there, which really is practically a step-by-step guide to executing your planning and executing your campaign. And you don't have to do a lot. You can, as long as you have your profile page set up and you have it set up and you have your, you know, you've figured out your donation amounts and you've put your organization's story, and then, you know, leverage those existing relationships that you have, you know, talk to people who are already engaged with your organization and focus on them and use whatever communication platform you have. Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have an email list? And just, I would say, and this was actually, Ashley, you had told us that there was going to be a question about your number one tip, and it's really my number one tip for everyone is, and not just first timers, is just keep it simple, figure out what you can do well and execute it. Don't worry about doing everything because you won't be able to do it well. Just do what you are able to execute on well. And it, you know, if you don't meet your goal your first time out, it's not a big deal, because one of the best things the first time I ran one of these campaigns was just doing awareness building, and it created a foundation for the following year's campaign. So maybe it's your first time out and you're just getting your feet wet, but take that opportunity to start telling your story to a broader audience and use the foundation, the foundation's platform on Mighty Cause. Use that to your advantage to help you tell that story and make it super easy for people to just, you know, with a click of a few buttons to make a donation.
That's helpful. And and that was going to be my next question, was one tip. So if you guys want to kind of loop that into your answers as well, Emily and Carolyn, when you go, that would be great too.
Yeah, a big thing that I have found is those who are involved in your organization or really taking or asking the board to have, if you have like a super active board, they're going to be on top of this, at least like say maybe send this to at least 5 people, and that can reach a really broad audience. So in getting your story out. So I found that really helpful. Like with our kids' families, I say, if you could send this to grandparents or just at least 5 friends that you know, that can go a long way. My number one tip that has helped me, the day can get a little crazy. So scheduling out, I usually sit, like this week, I schedule out all my social media templates of what I'm gonna do and what they're gonna look like. And then the day before, I'll schedule out all my social media posts. And that has helped so much. And not to say that you can't do other social media posts during the day, but doing like the power hour stuff, the emails, that has helped a ton in scheduling those out beforehand. And it takes a lot of stress off the day of.
Nice. For someone who's just jumping in this the first year, I think my idea would be to really get clear about your story and also like some transparency. Like if this is our first year being involved, like there's just, that goes a long way when you're communicating with people. It brings in that emotional vulnerability, right? So I just would say that is helpful. And that's something we've been experimenting more with too, is transparency around our budget. And like this, we're approaching the end of our fiscal year and we have this gap, and this is what we need to fill it in order for us to be sustained and enter the next year without deficit, so there's something really powerful about that transparency and vulnerability when we're seeking support as organizations who have strong visions and missions, as we all do. I think the number one tip that I would offer, it's hard because they're all so great. I think it's similar. It's being really clear and on it, like true with the communication and the power of story, like engaging in the power of story and the one-on-one connection in that, in the fundraising. So I guess that's more than one tip, but take it or leave it, either way. Thanks.
And Piper, I didn't know if you had anything to add here at the end or if you're good.
I think Carolyn did it well. Yeah.
All right. Well, does anybody have any questions? Or does anybody want to come off mute and share what they're doing on the Giving Day? We'd love to hear what you guys have going on.
Me too.
I would hate for us to end this early on a Thursday morning. Jess, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, well, I was just going to start calling people out.
Oh, okay.
I mean, my reflection, it's so nice to hear directly from the organizations that we kind of admire from behind the computer, as we're watching the day unfold. And what struck me as you all were talking is just how much your strategies really reflect at least my sense of the culture of your organization. And I think that that's really key and something that seems kind of authentic, although I think these days the word authentic is probably overused, but it does seem authentic to your organizations, the way you approach fundraising. And so I guess that's another way of encapsulating what many of you said about the story of your organization, is your approach really says something about how you conduct yourselves and what's important to you. And I think that's part of what connects donors to your stories. But I do know there are other people on this call that have been pretty active leading up to the Giving Day. I'm looking at you right now, Laureen. But what our panelists have done is certainly not the everything or every strategy that's worked. So Laureen, do you want to talk a little bit about what how's the Y approached it this year? You guys have been real active on social media, it seems.
Yeah, social media is my friend. Really. So, yeah, we were very fortunate. We found a wonderful young man. He's a high school student in Blacksburg who was really impressed by the meals program that we've been doing to feed children in the community. So he decided to take his love for filmmaking and create our video for us, which was just finished very late last night and got in the Dropbox just within the deadline. So a little tired here, but he did a great job. He interviewed some of the volunteers that participate. There's a fun interview in there I think you'll enjoy, and just got to know more about the program. So for a 16-year-old young man, he's done such a professional job. I could see he's going to be our next Steven Spielberg or something. He was so that was a good hook. Once he got involved, we've been able to put that out, talk a little bit about Josiah and why he's interested in the program and what he's doing. So today our big release will be, announcing, the video is here, check it out, and kind of using that. So we've done some paid, of course, on social media as well. And Ryan did an interview, which actually I missed because I was on here, that was on the Classic Radio FM out of Blacksburg this morning. And we're doing some things with NPR next week too. We are hoping to do 2 live activities. We're still trying to confirm those, so I'm not going to talk about them. It'll be a surprise if we do them. So that's going on. But yeah, just lots of trying to engage our volunteers who are helping with the program, as well as some of our board members who are also volunteers, and just kind of showcasing them and why they're involved and getting them to share. That is my main push this year, I think.
Thanks, Lorene. I appreciate you letting me call you out there. Anyone else want to share what they're doing? Or any questions you have? You also have all 3 foundation staff members, including guru of all things Give Local, Ashley. So this is your time to ask any last minute questions.
Well, I'll ask one. It may have been covered in one of the other meetings that I've attended, but I've completely forgotten. On your Give Local page, I see that some people have like a ticker saying who has donated, or even if it's anonymous. I have not been able to set that up.
So that is if you have a fundraiser set up.
Oh, so it's only fundraiser. Okay.
Yeah. And we actually, when we talk to Mighty Cause, they are in the works of having that set up for organizational pages. It's just not created yet, but hopefully by next year's Giving Day, organizational pages will have that donation scroll as well. But right now it is just for fundraisers. Okay, I don't feel too bad then. I thought it was just that I couldn't find the right. No, it's not you. It's not you. Another question that some folks have had is, we changed things up a little bit this year with how we're doing awards based on like small, medium, or large organizations. And some folks are like, how do I know where I am? I'm going to be sending out emails today, just letting you know like where you fall in that category. And so just so you know how we did that is we waited for everyone to register. And one of the registration questions was, what is your budget? And so we literally took the bottom third of numbers, and that's the small, the middle is medium, and the top third of budgets is the large organization. And we did that because last year there was just a pretty big skew of the number of organizations who were below $100,000 versus over 100,000. And so we did this to make it a little bit more fair. So if you've been wondering where you fall, you will know in the next few hours.
Ashley, I have a question about that. Are you, when you send that email out, are you just going to be telling each organization where they fall, or is there going to be a list of all of the organizations and where they fall?
So it's just going to be if you're receiving this email, you are a small organization. If you're receiving this email,
Okay.
you are a medium-sized organization. And so it is not going to have a spreadsheet of all the organizations
Okay.
that are listed in there.
Thanks.
Any other questions on that or anything else? Well, you guys know how to reach me if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. It's really exciting. We can kind of see behind the scenes of how much has been raised. And so it's fun to go in there every day and see where you guys are. So we're happy to help. And we think we're going to have another benchmark year and raise lots of money for all of these organizations. And so we appreciate all that you guys do. We know it's a lot of planning on your end to have such a successful giving day. So please reach out to us if you have any questions along the way. And we look forward to next year or to next week. Does anybody have any last comments or questions?
I'm just going to add in real quick, obviously a thanks to everybody, but you know, as Ashley said, we get to see behind the scenes, but what you probably don't see is all the work in particular that Ashley puts into this. This is our, you know, staff person kind of assigned to oversee the whole thing. And as you might imagine with the work that you all put in, it's similar on her end too. So thanks to Ashley for all the work that she puts in. She represents us well on this. And as you ask the questions, also don't forget to at some point say, hey, thanks, by the way, Ashley, for all the work that you're putting in. We're really fortunate. We had a bigger year this year with grants that we're able to give out. And that's all because of the work that she's put in. So we're excited to be able to continue building Give Local and put some of our effort behind it. So we appreciate all your work. We really enjoy, it's a great deal of fun around here at the foundation to see how everything is going. And so we're excited to see what you do. All right.
All right. Well, y'all have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.